Hare Krishna. We learn from history that we don't learn from history. George Hegel. This paradoxical saying, quote, illustrates that actually we human beings keep repeating the same mistakes again and again and yet again. Today, history is an important subject that is studied by children in their school and at a graduate doctorate level as a specialty. And often when we study the facts, the events that happened, if we study not just for factual information but also for moral edification, to understand why a particular person acted in a particular way and how a particular action was right and how a particular action was wrong, then we can learn a lot. We can avoid making the mistakes that they made. So one important purpose of learning about the past is not just to connect with our roots, but also to prevent repeating the mistakes of the past. And yet, if we look at history, we will see that people keep repeating the same mistakes again and again. People quarrel over trifles, give in to anger, and sometimes over small issues. Big wars that end in the death of thousands start off. Similarly, because of greed, people fight and kill each other. Similarly, because of lust, people start violating each other. People start killing each other. So the same human failings of anger, of greed, of lust, of arrogance, these we keep seeing again and again. And when we see humans repeating the same mistakes again and again, it can be very depressing. Why is it that people don't learn? Why is it that people keep committing the same mistakes again and again? And we could actually take this question from world history down to individual personal history. If we look at our own lives, we see that sometimes we succumb to the same self-defeating behaviors again and again and yet again. We end up doing the same thing which hurt us. This is often seen in an extreme way among addicts who keep, say, drinking alcohol or taking drugs. But in a lesser way, we see it in all of us. All of us, sometime or the other, sabotage ourselves. The Bhagavad Gita raises this question about the innate human tendency to sabotage oneself. In the 3rd chapter, in the 36th verse, the question is raised, what is it that makes us act against our best interests, against our intelligence, against even our good intentions? It seems against our desires. So that inner inimical force is actually self-centered desire. The self-centered desire can take many forms. But it is this desire which needs to be countered. And this desire is described in the Bhagavad Gita as the eternal enemy of humanity. So generation after generation, every generation keeps falling to the same enemy. And that is why, because this is the eternal enemy which fells people generation after generation, we see this tragic phenomena that people don't learn from history. However, that does not mean that we individually and humanity collectively is irredeemable. Yes, we can be reformed, but for reformation, we need the study of not just history, but the study of spirituality. When we understand our spiritual core, when we understand who we are and what we are longing for, then we can understand how that longing has got misdirected. So the Bhagavad Gita explains that we are at our core souls. As parts of God, we are pure, but we all are covered by contaminations, by impurities, which have self-defeating influences on us. These impurities, they kindle self-centered desires within us, and they make us lusty, they make us greedy, they make us angry, they make us arrogant, and thus they make us act to hurt, even destroy ourselves, and similarly to hurt and destroy others. By recognizing that our vulnerability to these inner enemies comes because of our lack of spirituality. We are parts of God and we are meant to delight in an eternal loving relationship with God. When we turn towards Him through the time-honored process of Bhakti Yoga, connect with Him, and that connection satisfies and purifies us. As we get higher satisfaction through our connection with the Supreme, that sublime happiness, it makes us more capable of resisting lower temptations. And thus we get the wherewithal, we get the willpower to resist our self-defeating passions. And thus we can learn, when we learn spiritual knowledge. And of course, the learning of spirituality and the learning of history don't have to be separate. In fact, in the Indian wisdom tradition, there is a genre called Itihas, which is history, but it is not just history of facts. It is history permeated with morality and spirituality. It is history about the sacred accounts of the great spiritualists who have lived on this planet, who have lived in this world. And by learning moral and spiritual lessons from them, even history can edify us, it can purify us. And thus, every one of us can learn from history and stop repeating the mistakes of history. And thus, we can actually make our mistakes a history, something of the past to be left behind, by embracing spirituality. Thank you. Hare Krishna.